Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So today we've got what I'm going to be calling a jelly shark deck, because that's basically what it is. It is using some of the new water support that has recently came out into the game. Plus there is like a Destiny hero card in here just for extra spiciness. But let's go and show off what the heck it does. So this is the highlight of the archetype with the Stealth Kraken number 4. Technically there's already a number 4. I guess we're calling this the fake number 4 here, but nonetheless, here's what you can do with the deck. If you open up relatively well, these cards are super strong. Like, it's actually what I would consider like a low-key deck right now. And Stealth Kraken is able to pop an opponent's card as a quick effect, and then your opponent takes burn damage equal to half of the attack of what it had on the field. And it is not a hard once per turn effect. So the whole goal is to basically spam out rank 4s, as a lot of the rest of the archetype allows you to go ahead and do that. Basically, you can have up to 3-ish negates with just like the base core of like just going for some rank 4s. But you can go further with additional like back row. But I would say on the consistent side of things, you're looking at about 3 negates just with like an average-ish hand with the archetype. But anyways, now we're seeing it up against the newer speedroids. In fact, we have a lot of newer Yu-Gi-Oh cards that we'll be able to show off in these set of duels over here. But basically, it is going to be a rank 4 spam deck. Now, it will convert everything into water, so if your opponent requires them to have like a fire monster or whatever, like the, you know, thing that it needs to require to exceed or link summon, it could potentially hurt your opponent, because what this card does is all of the monsters become water, and then once per turn during the main phase we get to pop a water monster that our opponent controls, which is really good, and then you get to do the burn damage. And then here's the thing that makes it actually really good, okay? So when this card goes away, it brings out another card that can bring out more cards, which you guys will see here very soon. Because I don't think this guy knew exactly what the heck he was getting himself into, as it's just something that recently came out, literally like announced, I want to say like a day ago. But yeah, this number 4, like jellyfish, because that's basically what the jelly water deck, I don't really know what to call it. If you guys have a better idea for the title, let me know. But once that card goes away, you can bring out a lot of Kraken spawn and then reattach material, even though Chambara can attack more times and get extra stats. When this card goes away, it brings back this card, which, again, this card brings this card brings back this card. It's really annoying. And then he goes into main phase 2, and these are both quick effects, so then he lost out double monsters again, which is obviously something that it feels like it's OP, and I would say it's actually really good. It's a low-key, underrated deck, I would say, right now, and the guy just has to say GG. Sorry, Mr. New Speedroids. But I got a lot of different duels over here. This is against some of the new Galaxy stuff. In fact, we've got a lot of newer cards in some of these duels over here, but the highlight is, again, the jelly ice. I don't know if I can call it an ice jelly shark ice. Because it's a bunch of there's a lot of cards that are supposed to be like ice. In fact, one of the cards is straight up called Ice Barrier. We'll show it off against ice barriers too, but it's basically just the new water deck. But this Stealth Kraken is just so dang good. You can see he's just instantly getting that burn damage. He's going to go ahead and bring out double Cypher Dragons, but it's not going to matter too much because this card is not a hard once per turn. And I think that was maybe a mistake with the archetype. And then he even goes and snatches. The guy's like, okay, you got me. You're even busting out the Silent Honor arc over here, which is quite great. There's also newer support for the Cyber Darks. Although I haven't really covered them, I'm just going to cover them basically in this video, because Cyber Darks still is what I would consider to be a lower tier archetype. Like, Cyber Dragon isn't really that bad, to be honest, but like trying to mix in both of them, it can be kind of rough to get the amount of negations that you need. But let's go ahead and let the guy go first. He's going to go ahead, have a edge. He's got Invasion and a Claw equipped to the edge. But again, we're going to go right into Stealth Kraken, and even if they get rid of Stealth Kraken, it doesn't really matter, because you're bringing back another card that can bring back Stealth Kraken after that card goes away anyways. So that's why this deck can be very powerful at not only being able to react to what your opponent has, but also have that ability to be a grind game deck. Especially if you're playing against any anti-meta deck, you'd probably just out-resource them, because this is what this deck does. This brings out this, and it brings out multiple, and then during the main phase, he's just going to pop it, and he's already realized, wait, I can't do anything. So he didn't really stand up a chance. Now, this one up over here is versus a player that is playing Dark Worlds, and he actually ends up dirtying this guy super hard. Dark Worlds haven't gotten I would say any newer support more recently, but this duel was good, so I wanted to share this one with you guys, because the guy ends up using card destruction, which is a pretty good card. If you've played Dark Worlds, you know how good this card can be indeed. But once again, the whole goal of this new build of the water deck is to spam out. If you want to, you can go for 3 of these. However, like I mentioned in the first game, you can go for Bahamut Shark. Bahamut Shark is obviously a really good card. You get Totally Awesome, then you can potentially use another card that your opponent has, giving you potentially up to 5 negates, if you consider like the card that you negate being a live card that you can then disrupt with one of your opponent's cards, which can be relatively good. Like a 5 negate is where I consider it to be on that line of actually good enough to be meta, right? But once again, with one going away, you get out the double Kraken spawn, and then once that goes away, you're able to go ahead and get out more of these. And like I said, when this card goes away, you could special summon another Kraken monster from your graveyard up to the number of materials that this card has, and then attach up to 1 water monster from your graveyard to each of them as material. And this is even going further. We could go further with this. Like the guy just straight up lost because, like, you know, you get your card taken away, it gets popped, and you take that burn damage. But we haven't even gotten attachment effects on these water monsters, like for Dragoons. Like, there could be even more things with this. And this duel over here is just so you guys can see the D-Force. This is another Neo card. I'll probably cover this in a future video, but I did want to go ahead and like show it off over here. Or Tsubasa wanted to show it off because I gotta give him a shout out for this. But this card is actually really good because some of the cards you will have like linger, like for example, the Kraken will then get you those spawn, and then if you don't need those, or if you want to make this deck, this is something that you don't have to put in the deck. It's probably something I would not recommend. If you want to take this deck seriously, you can incorporate cards like Droplet. Salvage is really great here because like you can just get a lot of free cards, because a lot of these are just like spam the board with rank 4s, right? But if you do happen to run D-Force, this card can be really good too, because it allows you to go right instantly into Plasma with even crashing your cards to bring out multiple of the little spawn, and then you just D-Hero Plasma them. It doesn't really have insane synergy. Tactically, at one point though, D-Heroes were running water to go for Miracle. This is when Ab-Zero, by the way, first came out, and it did see some play in like variants of like Diva Zombies, which you can obviously play Malian as well. But what it does let you do is make Plasma. If you guys don't know what Plasma does, this is an alternate artwork, by the way. It's just still the same card. It's just this is a newer card. D-Force lets you search out the Plasma, and then on top of that, your opponent cannot actually target cards you control with effects. That's why he ends up breaking himself with that. So basically, Plasma is immune, and it cannot be targeted with card effects. So you have a Plasma that negates everything on your opponent's board on the face-up side things, and then they can't target him with like their back row. So like he basically becomes immune. Well, it's everything that can't be targeted. So it's just like a nasty like icing on the cake. Okay, now we're gonna go ahead and see it up against Ice Barriers. So Ice Barriers is an archetype that I just don't get why this was a structure deck. Like, I just think it's like the biggest meme to actually have this. Like, I know that there is a lock, but I still consider Ice Barriers not on the same level as, other archetypes. But nonetheless, going for that, spam the board with as many Stealth Krakens as possible. I think double is good, and then going for a Bahamut Shark is probably the ideal play, considering if you negate a card, you might be able to use it too. But I want to show you how nasty this card, this whole archetype, this little like Jelly Ice Shark variant deck, as it is going to be really, really powerful. Even with, this is a new card too, the Ice Barrier, but Mirror Force is indeed activated. He loses out on everything, or does he really? Because he's going to activate Goes and it doesn't matter. Everything in the whole archetype is water. Heck, some of the stuff locks you to water anyways, but nonetheless, it doesn't matter. He got Mirror Force and still pumping out triple monsters, and he still has 3 different monsters. As a quick effect during the main phase, you get to just pop, so he really can't do anything. If he summons, it's just gonna get popped, and I think he realized that a little bit too late. Next up over here, we have a duel up against Penguins, which I know you guys might be thinking, Penguins, that's not even meta, man. I know, but the Penguin guy actually pulls off some stuff that I was legitimately impressed by Penguins, as Penguins haven't really seen any play in Yu-Gi-Oh! In a really long time. Other than when they first got announced, I saw like a couple people playing them, but like technically there is more newer water support, but like I would really suggest running cards like Salvage. Heck, you can even run Moray of Greed for extra draw power and cycling through some of the cards in the deck that if you open up with too many copies of, or you just can't make great use out of, you can consider to do that as well. But there's a lot of consistency with this deck. It's just like a lot of level 4s. Like Ice Knight over here is another newer card that lets you it's just an additional summon that you get, but you can only go for waters. Not that it merely hurts your archetype, but he ends up going for like he makes the new Penguin Heroes, or I guess they call it Penguin Brave in the TCG now, and he made a Savage Dragon, but Stealth Kraken is just too dang strong. So he's gonna go ahead and now pop that. He loses 1200, and even if this card goes away, well, he's just gonna get back another card, which then brings back this card. And you guys pretty much get the idea of the archetype, I would say, at this point. But yeah, this is also another newer card, the Silent Sea Nettle, which again, that allows you access to going straight into your rank 4 plays. So yeah, new Jelly Shark deck is looking pretty good, and it's kind of cool because I really haven't seen Sharks do anything. I remember covering Sharks a while ago in, what was it, like the Zexal era, I want to say it was, when they had some of the cards. This guy's just reaching out because if he summons anything, it's just going to get popped. And then, you know what I think is really interesting with Stealth Kraken? He doesn't even need to detach for his effect. Like, did they mess that one up? But yeah, the new Jelly Shark deck, guys, is actually pretty cool. So we're gonna go ahead and hit export deck, and I'll give you guys a quick little deck profile for you guys over here, as I think it is actually pretty fun to mess around with some of the newer stuff. Like I mentioned before, if you guys want to take this deck seriously, I probably would not play the Plasma Engine in here. It's just there because it's a newer card that, you know, it's cool to see newer cards with this. But also with the Prius Raise map, you're able to add the Putunal Princess that lets you banish at some level 4 lower fish from your deck, so that can be really good as well. Things that can make the deck more consistent, if you want to take this deck a little bit again more seriously, I think cards like Moray of Greed can be awesome. Cards like you can run Surface, right? Surface is level 3 or lower fish, Sword from Aqua. You can technically recycle some of your stuff with this as well, but I really like this card called Salvage. These are all cards I would consider. You can play multiples of them. I'm just mentioning them really quick, just because I know there's some people that might want to take this deck a little bit more serious. I think Droplets could be, oops, I'm gonna type it in. Forbidden Droplet would be excellent as well, because not only could you go plus then with Salvage, because Salvage is technically a +1, you could go minus initially with Droplet, then also with this, you can go further. And on top of that, with Droplet, it's really good because it does half the attack. So if your Stealth Kraken dies and you bring out your spawns and they try to get rid of your spawns, because remember, these are only able to be activated during the main phase. So then when they attack into you, you activate that and you maybe get rid of another card, and then you can then go up to, you know, surviving, going to the main phase 2. And that's if they even want to go to main phase 2. They might not even want to go to main phase 2 because you'll pop, but it doesn't matter because it goes over to your turn and you wreck them, right? So anyways, here is like the basic deck profile. Like I said, if you guys want to take the deck more seriously, I would encourage you guys to run this or other cards. Like you can run Lightning Storm as well to combat some of the first turn plays. But it's a pretty straightforward deck. It's multiple copies of the Cutter Shark, 3 copies of Lantern, double copies of Ice Knight, 2 copies of the Slidolphin, 3 copies of Silent Angler, 3 copies of Sea Nettle, 3 copies of Xyz Remora, and then 3 copies of Shnada, and then 3 copies of the Beautiful Princess. So all these really come down to just summon cards to summon cards. This one lets you special summon. And then on top of this, this has another effect. We can banish the target 3 water monsters in your graveyard and shuffle them, so you can recycle some of your extra deck cards, which can be pretty dang nice. And then we have 3 copies of White Mirror. This is another one of the newer cards. Lets you target level 4 lower fish, just special summon, and then you can add one. So this is actually +2 as well. So it can really help out again with your Droplet plays. And then we have the map. This is another new card. It just lets you add 1 monster with 0, which is basically just this card as of right now. Then we have 2 copies of Desire. Then we got the Upstart over here, and then 3 copies of Imperm. I could actually see dropping Upstart for like a Moray, as you can cycle 3 cards quite fast. And the thing is because the deck can burn, you can actually win by burn damage. Remember that the guy that's playing Dark Worlds, he just lost out on too much. Like, you get some damage in early on with this deck, and you have multiples of these, your opponent just straight up loses. And then even if they get rid of this card, you get out this card, which also still pops things. This one doesn't do burn damage, though. But then this card brings out this card, which is gonna do burn damage at the end of the day anyways. But yeah, for the extra deck, we didn't see this card, but this is technically another card. You just like go and slap cards on top of cards. Then we have Shark Drake, and then Bahamut Shark, obviously really good. And then number 37, Silent Honor Arc, which you guys did see. Stealth Kraken and the Kraken Spawn. I would say the important cards are, that I would play of you definitely want to play multiple copies of the, well, you got to play Bahamut Shark too to bring out this card. But I'd say these are the core important cards. The rest is kind of up to you. Obviously, you can run cards like Dweller and, you know, other rank 4s. This card still is not that bad, to be honest, especially when your opponent might be kind of on the defensive side. This only does take face-up attack positions. But anyways, big shout out to my homie Subasa for hooking me up with the gameplay and the deck profile. This new, what I'm going to call Jelly Shark Ice deck, I guess now, or new Jelly Waters or something. I don't know what I'm titling, but if you guys have a good idea on what I should title it, this deck or archetype, let me know in the comment section below, and I might change the title. But anyways, thanks for tuning, guys, and if you enjoyed the video, drop a like on it, and if you're new here and do want to be up to date on cool new Yu-Gi-Oh! Like gameplays of some of the newer cards, hit subscribe, turn the bell, and you'll definitely see more very soon. But take care, and I'll catch you guys in the next vid. Peace.